and welcome to Heather and Hops. My name is Kat, or Catherine. I'm a knitter based in Hertfordshire, and today, as is becoming more normal lately, we're doing something slightly different. Today we're going to have a little, hopefully informal chat with Brogan of Woolly Witchcraft and talk about our trip to Perth Yarn Festival. We both went separately, but as it happened, Brogan was the first person we found as we went into the venue, and I just thought it would be nice to, you know, hear it from a couple of perspectives at once. And yeah, Alex took most of the video footage that I will pop in at the end. He was an angel and came with us, but also drove and did a lot to keep me calm. In other news, I do have a cup of coffee. I have a cup from a lovely potter made in Newcastle that Alex purchased for me. It's got a keep cup lid and I crocheted a little protector so that when I put it in my bag, if I go out, it's safe. But I'm drinking a single shot, almost flat white, it's not quite, from Horsham Coffee Roasters. Now, they aren't the best coffee you can get in the UK, I wouldn't say, but I think it is an amazing, fairly affordable workhorse yarn. Yarn? Wow, we're already in the zone. Workhorse coffee. This is the organic blend. I really like their decaf, but it's just when we have access to it, we tend to buy it in the kilo bag because it is way more affordable than buying trash from the supermarket, which I just don't like. And there's no judgment to any, but yeah. I have also put on the little corner my pumpkin spice blend, which is just cinnamon, nutmeg, ginger and a bit of clove that I just grind up in our NutriBullet and put it on top of coffees, on porridge, just basically anything that needs a little festive. And while I've got you on my own, I'm wearing a beanie. It's actually very cold today already. It's gone from shorts and t-shirt weather to 6 degrees, which is pretty chilly for the UK really. We don't tend to go down past -6 even when it's freezing, but it's gone down. So it's a beanie hat. This is an improvised hat using Juniper Moon Farm Stratus, I think, in a black colourway. I think it's a discontinued yarn, but I really like it, and there's not much to say because it is just an improvised hat. And I'm also wearing my Arachne, which I knitted using Hobby Evergreen, which I've really loved. It feels really good. It's a sport weight yarn that I knitted at a sport gauge, but this was on 3.75mm needles if I remember, and it's filled up all the holes because it's so lofty and bouncy. And then for the contrast, I used a part of a cone from Yeoman Yarns, which is just a big 500 gram, I think it even is, cone of mohair that I got from my knitting machine, and then held with lovely Woolly Mammoth Fibre Co natural sock in the jasmine colourway. And this is one of my favourite items. I haven't knitted a yoke jumper yet and fallen in love with it quite as much as I have with this. It's getting a lot of wear, it's holding up quite nicely, and I really am wanting an excuse to knit it again. I have spoken to a couple of people that have mentioned they are looking to make it into a cardigan, and I do think that would be very, very cool. But yeah, let's see if we can hustle Brogan and get chatting.
Hi!
Hello! How are you?
I'm okay, how are you?
Yeah, like that.
I don't know whether, did I look at my camera since this is what I'm going to be sending you, or...
I would say look at your camera when you're maybe talking for an extended period, and otherwise we just talk together.
Cool.
Yeah, keeps it easy.
Yeah.
Figuring it out on the fly.
Oh dear.
Yeah. Well, I started my morning off with a walk around Windy Hollow, which I will put some footage in after the Perth Yarn Festival footage, just because we absolutely needed having heard from you already nearly that day, we needed a little bit of decompression time and after the long drive. And then when we got to Perth, one of the most impressive things that Alex and I still can't get over, to park outside of Perth station was £3. Alex pays approximately 6 times that to park daily in London if he has to drive into work.
No
and
way.
that's outside. That was outside a proper train station in Perth, and then that is just either on someone's drive or on a random street in London. Isn't that mental? Like,
just I was really impressed actually with the parking. Like, I park at the actual centre in the underground car park part, and I thought this is going to be a fortune. I was £2 for the whole day. I was like, this is how to do it. This is how to do it.
It really is. It made such a difference to the experience, weirdly, not having...
Because you weren't worrying, do you know what I mean? Like, you knew your car's safe, you're not getting robbed.
Yeah. Yeah, you could take your time without worrying that, oh, suddenly this has gone from...
Can I afford to take my time? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I know, definitely. Oh, it was so good.
Yeah.
I loved it. And see, for like a first festival, I thought I really want to watch with that because it was huge.
It was...
And there was so much.
That was awful.
I was so overwhelmed.
I remember getting the message from you and I was like, Alex, oh no, what have we done? And then it did end up not being quite as, as I thought it might, but it was still a lot. Yeah, I've got there.
I felt bad. Like, I feel like my social battery ran out quite quickly, but then obviously I'd said to you the next day I'd torn my muscle at my ribs.
Yeah.
And I'm like walking around the full day in the festival going, I can't really breathe right, and why is this hurting? Am I dying? And then I was like, it's fine, just buy more wool. It
was the amount of times I kept like trying to take your, like, I was like, I'll help you, I'll carry some of this. And you're like, no, it's fine. And now I'm like, I really should have just been a little bit more like, no, I'll carry it. Yeah.
I know, that was bad. And the driving home as well, I was like, this isn't right. And I went to the shop before, like, I headed out to Perth, and I'd bought Rennie's because I had like pains in my chest. And I was like, oh, I must have heartburn or something. It was like, go to the doctor, bro.
It definitely wasn't heartburn.
It's all good now.
It's
all good now. It's fine.
It's not fine, but I am glad because I was quite... The day after I said to Alex and he was like, what? I was like, I know. I was like, that social battery thing was amazing that we had mentioned like quite early on when we got there. We were like, don't be afraid if you've drained to just say so that we can either figure it out or we can separate or whatever. But the fact that it wasn't social battery, it was that much worse. I was like, whoa. Not that, social batteries to be undermined, but
oh no,
muscular pain.
I felt really bad. I felt like I just looked miserable towards the end, but I think I was just tired. I think it was taking out of me, do you know what I mean? But
that level of pain,
it didn't take away from the festival for me. I still, the fact that I was walking about in that much pain and still having such a good time.
It does tell you.
I think it speaks a lot, yeah. Oh, it was great.
Yeah, when we'd got I got my little pass, which was a really nice touch that had been organised because it made me feel that when Alex was walking around with a camera, the fact that it said podcaster on my lanyard made me feel a little bit more like they'll understand that it's not quite just me getting overly excited.
There's a reason behind it.
I thought that was a really nice touch. And it also made Alex aware of why people might be doing hugs. Excited hugs. It was like, I know. But as soon as we got there, we went upstairs to get ourselves a cup of coffee, and that was my only sad bit of thing about the festival, was the cup of coffee. It was, no one should be serving anything in polystyrene cups anymore. But I did immediately see you. Then I dropped you a message.
Is that me?
Yeah. And then you scurried over.
See, there were people that came up to me and they were like, I knew it was you because of the hair. And I was like, is that a good thing?
Yeah, it's nice.
I can't believe how welcoming it all felt. Like, did you not think, and I guess it makes sense because, like, the kind of knitting community, it is so lovely, but it just felt like, oh, this sounds so sad, but it just felt like you were surrounded by, like, friends and, like, people with common interests, and it was just lovely. And I went from going in and having really, really bad anxiety and, like, feeling like I was going to either pass out or vomit
No.
to just feeling really reassured and welcomed by, like, everybody, the vendors, the other people that were shopping, like, obviously you and Alex and everyone else that we met. Like, it was just, oh, it was so lovely. It was really, it fed the soul.
I think
definitely did.
When, like, even in, say, a gig, but it's a bit, with knitting, and my hair on my eyeball, feels great. With knitting, it's such a big part of people's world, or even if it isn't, the stories are very heartfelt. So it's not like you're just having you never end up having a gentle conversation that's like small talk. It very much goes a bit deeper straight away.
Deeper than that, yeah.
So you feel that much more connected, which is probably why social batteries drain a bit quicker, because it's that much more focused and
it's more intense, isn't it?
Yeah, you're just as interested in hearing what someone else has got to say than sharing. Like, you're like,
yeah.
And I got very excited, I think, and I was like, no, tell me about you, tell me, and I'm like,
yeah. I absolutely loved, and I said this to Gary when I got home, I feel like I met so many really incredible people with so many great stories, and there was one vendor, and I can't remember his name, and it's really upsetting me, but I bought the yarn from him. I think you did as well.
Baby Shield.
Yes! I loved his story, and he was talking about how he went from, was it like woodworking teaching? Yeah, it's beautiful. And then this turned into his passion, and he was just such a friendly presence, and he had like stitch marks in his beard, and
yeah.
he was just...
Because it's just straight fibre, and the other one is viscose, which is just plastic. So that rose fibre is crushed, washed, chopped, carded, spun.
It's like tea.
Yeah.
Such a lovely,
really lovely.
energy.
There was so many people that just opened up and like shared a part of themselves along with their yarn that they were like, you know, offering, and
straight away
just,
too.
it made the experience brilliant, didn't it?
Yeah, so he got, not only does he have his own yarn and create patterns, and I think he was on Kirsty's Handmade Christmas with Christmas Jumper, so I'm gonna see if I can go back and watch that, because I think it would be fun. Yeah.
Man.
He also gets a young chap to make his drop spindles for him, which is, again, it's a wonderful thing, because he's a woodworker. He could quite easily make them, but he's actively trying to support people that otherwise couldn't work, and I think that makes.
And he said that, didn't he?
special.
It was like, if someone's got a creative passion, why would you do anything other than feed that passion? And he just had a heart of gold, didn't he?
Yeah.
And it was all really like high quality stuff. Like the yarn as you know, is absolutely gorgeous.
So it's Suffolk, which is a breed, but I don't know much about it. Alpaca and rose, so 50% wool, 40% alpaca and 10% rose. And Alex is going to naturally dye this, I think. I'm hoping for red onion skin. And then I'll make him a pair of socks and then see what I can take for myself afterwards.
Yes.
But it is.
I got the dark one, but do you not feel like it's heavy?
Yeah, I think that's the alpaca's quite a heavy fibre.
I don't know what it is, and it felt cold to me, like my one did anyway. I don't know if mine might have different
fibres.
I'll let you have a look. I've left it downstairs because I'm very prepared.
It's fine. I've tried to be a bit more prepared, but also we're having a chat. That's it. Who else? I've got a few like cards from people we met. I had to share this one because this stills my heart a little bit. Yeah. They're not maybe the style of yarn that I am drawn to normally. They're very speckled and quite bright and colourful, she says, with green hair. But they are going to start a sort of semi-nerdy yarn club, and hopefully the first edition is going to have some t-shirts with this in. And I think
it's so cool.
Yeah, I'm not really in the market for more t-shirts, but this is one that
you can make space.
Well, I think it's going to be a baseball shirt from what I understand, and I have to say they're terrible for me because of whatever I do to the washing, white never stays white. But I'll just cut it up and put it on the back of a jacket.
Exactly.
Once
then it's totally unique, even more.
But I had to share it because it's just so good. It's such a fun idea. And
was it her husband drew it or something?
And I spoke to him already. I shared it, and he was like, "Ah!" And I was like, "Ah!" back. And I was like, "I'll share it as soon as so let me know," because it's like, I don't think you understand how many makers in the knitting world are really like Stranger Things, but appreciate this sort of D&D adjacent content.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Love it.
It's a lot of us. So cute. Yeah, there were so many interesting vendors and yarns, and I wanted to just squish everything. Like
I know.
That I don't know, you didn't get anything from Unaroo?
I did.
You did?
Have
you got it?
What's one of my new designs? It's that one.
Oh yeah, quite bright, not bright.
I'll hold it up to my camera so that if you're wanting to slice and dice it, you can see it. But I've got my curtains closed because I was getting blinded. It's this beautiful, I think it's called Stormy Seas, and the name has left me for this one, but it's the rare, is it white-faced?
White-faced woodland, which I love.
Yes. And it's lovely, and it's a little bit like rustic, but it's that perfect, I don't know how to describe it other than it's the perfect warm feel, do you know what I mean? But I don't know, again, I'm not normally a really bright coloured person, but when I seen these two together, it was like, that needs to be something. And yeah, now it's going to be, and I'm very excited.
It's beautiful. Ooh.
Don't die.
I think I got a big chunk of cinnamon from the top of my coffee.
Oh no.
She was from... I can't remember where she was. She's definitely a Scottish maker, but she does like to focus on sort of BFL and slightly interesting, even though I think BFL's underrated. Just saying.
Very much is.
She does have a focus, and she was very sweet. She mentioned that she'd been sort of offered a few sheep, and that's kind of her big dream. I was like, me too, maybe we'll cross paths. But yeah, that was I really enjoyed chatting with her for that. And I think it was her partner there too.
Yeah.
But talking about not just because it was her first ever festival, first ever like in-person meet, it was really special to see the excitement, but to also talk about where she's going and that she's definitely feels like this is just the start of the ripple in what's to come. And
Yeah.
can I make sure?
I remember they were both really, really lovely, and I was chatting to her and she was saying that it's her first festival, and I was like, oh, me too. And I was like, you're my first purchase at my first festival, and I think she'd said that I was her first sale. So it was like it all came together.
You were the first of the first of the first.
First of the first of the first. So yeah, but it was lovely. I really liked, and she had all different like bases in terms of like 4-ply DK, and she had the colours all there, so it depended, like you weren't like missing out if you wanted finger and weight, but they only had that colour, and it was just great. It was lovely.
It was really nice.
Beautiful colours.
Yeah, and I really liked the picture. I mean, my guess was it was maybe the Cairngorms or meant to be, but I don't know. I just think it was a really cute little design. She's definitely got an eye. And there's 2 sheep hidden in there, but they're very subtle.
Is there?
Which I think's quite nice, because normally we're...
Do you think that's like him and her?
Ah, I hope so.
Are they the sheep?
They're the sheep. I have to send them a message. We've come up with this wild concept.
Are you the sheep?
We need to know. Please tell us.
The answers.
I don't know, I just feel like it's fun to mention everyone. I did briefly get to chat with Jess of Ginger Twist, who I previously went into her shop and was like, should we have a chat? And she was like, of course. I was like, okay, let's do this. And had a bit of a silly chat with her before the shop had all been moved around. It looks still like a never-ending cave in there, but sort of more, managed to fit more in.
Is this in Edinburgh?
Yeah.
I would love to go yarn shopping in Edinburgh. I've not been yet.
Let's plan it in for next year when maybe funds aren't as brutal as they are, and maybe we've come to terms with...
Let's see if we can afford gas electricity.
Yeah, it's going to say, once
we're
we're out of gas and electricity worry. Ooh. But we should do that.
Alarming.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would be good.
I would, yeah.
I love a knitting day out.
And I would really love to see the Christmas stuff again. It looked so special, and I would love to just waddle around in the frost with a hot
and just take it all in.
Yeah, and just...
It's so good.
And also I'd like to visit Kathy's shop again, which if you haven't been, she's got some really interesting, like, blends herself. But yeah, we'll have to do that because it's probably a bit easier for you to get to Edinburgh than it is for me, maybe.
I mean, yeah, but that's not very fair on you.
No, but it's a very good excuse to come back to the homeland.
It is. Just stay with us.
We're trying. Like I joke about. Recently went out for dinner with a couple of friends. So our friends from Canada came to stay and ended up having to stay with another set of friends, and it was all very lovely, but we all went out for dinner, and it came up again. It was like, oh yeah, when are you going to move to Scotland? And I was like, well, we'd love to still. And my friend Hannah was like, yeah, but you've been saying that for years. And I was like, yeah, but oh yeah, the last time we actually had, Alex and I had both got jobs just before lockdown that would have meant we'd have to relocate, and it was all we'd found a house and everything, and then the whole big C happened, and we were like, well, there you go. And I was like, but that happened 2 weeks before she'd moved to Watford, So she'd only known us to be like talking about it, never it to be. So I was like, I promise you, it's not just like it's just it doesn't work now. Like with everything that's happened the last 2 years, there's just, and now we're gonna have to spend every last penny on trying to heat our house.
Oh, it's scary, and I don't. Nah, let's not talk about it.
Luckily we love wool.
Exactly. And my boys complain that it's too itchy. Well, guess what, boys? If you want to be warm, you need to get used to it.
Yeah, just have to. You can have one long sleeve top and one long sleeve pair of thermals, and then on top of that is wool.
Absolutely, you don't need to worry about it. They do really, really like that yarn that I kept going back to, and I ended up getting it, and it was the Suri alpaca. Oh my goodness, I wish I had it up with me. That's my first time working with it, and I have never felt anything as soft in my life. It was so good.
We have a troublemaker. She's at the door going, okay, go on, go and have an adventure.
Immediately followed them on Instagram when I got home, so let me look it up.
Because their colour palette was beautiful.
Very, very much so.
Like,
is it Zakami Yarns?
Yeah. I wouldn't know how to pronounce it better.
Again, I'll hold it up to my
Yay!
yeah.
They were,
But I couldn't get away with how soft it is. I'm holding it with the Drops tweed, and it's just
those
combination. Pure comfort, and it's like garter stitch that I'm doing just now, so it's just
comfort.
Happiness.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think the tweed is a very soft yarn and quite a cooling, whereas the alpaca might be a little bit more warming, and I think the balance is going to be.
Yeah, it's going to be so cozy. But yeah, the poor thing is, in fact,
have you got it?
It's in my basket, so I have a big basket now. I've still got the tag on. It's in here, I think. Oh, it's so soft.
Oh, that combination too.
Isn't that lovely?
That green, I just want to eat it and wear it, and
it's so good. And I'm holding it with the Drops. So that's the green. The greens.
Definitely.
It's so soft.
Cast on a shawl.
So good. Look at the squish.
Oh, I do. I just want to eat it and snuggle in it. I want a knit a shawl. Why?
I'm currently knitting 1, 2, 3. The kill count? No. 3 and a kill.
That's. Yeah, I might have a cast on. I can show you this. This was a really special gift, and I don't normally share things that I've stopped. Don't really share things that I've received. But I can't not show you this because we're in autumn now, and it's officially autumn. And I
have the wreath on the door.
It is official.
Yep.
So I received a beautiful letter with it, and I won't, because I'll probably cry, and I don't know where this is from, but, like, yarn-wise, but this could be a wonderful shawl. It's like a little autumn nugget of dreams, right?
It literally looks like someone has gathered up all the different leaves off the ground and rolled them. Do you know what I mean?
It's just,
That's beautiful.
I keep, every time I go to the shop, I collect these. I've got like 4 leaves on the table. I just bring one special one home each time. But
I do that with rocks. I'm like, this is the one.
We've got
this is the one that comes home.
in the bathroom. A couple of them we've put dates on if it's a special one, but
Oh,
yeah.
that's beautiful. Have you got any ideas for it?
Well, I keep thinking maybe it should be a shawl, but I've had it in my possession for sort of 36 hours now, and there's not. I just feel like it needs to just be on my needles because it's autumn.
I think, yeah, and you've had so much going on. I think find a really. Sorry, I'm just totally taking over that.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good.
Find a really comforting, simplistic, not too much brain power shawl if that's what you're wanting, and treat yourself to it. But before you cast it on, you need to have a cup of something lovely made, and you need to have a candle on, and you need to be in your big hoodie or onesie or something, and you need to
maybe this
spoil
evening.
yourself and do something lovely.
Yeah, I might lean in. Like maybe it's a hocus pocus evening and proper cup of something. I do already have my
You've
candle
got
on.
it.
Yeah.
You've got it. Sorted.
I need to have a little look on maybe
I'm
Ravelry.
excited.
Yeah. Thank you. But isn't it gorgeous? I was just like, I need to ask where it's from, but
Oh, it's beautiful.
I had to share it. It reminded me of your hair. Like a little. I was like, it was like, oh, it's like broken.
I know, I'm kind of, I've got a big roll.
Oh, it's
like cinnamon bun. I know.
Do you know, I joke about it. I dreamed about having orange dreadlocks when I was young. For years, I always wanted it, and I think there was a cello, I think she was a cello player, that I ended up seeing having it.
I used to play cello.
I'll send you a link to her. I can't remember what she's called, but she was amazing. And so I'd always dreamed of having big, long orange dreadlocks with flowers in. And she did that like 5 years after it was in my head. And I was like, you're amazing. And then I saw yours and I was like, you're like almost what I dreamed of when I was young. Earplugs and everything. I was like, and Brogan's like the person I should have turned out to be.
Oh, no,
I'm joking.
Absolutely not.
I'm joking. But
Oh.
there is like a big place in my heart for orange dreadlocks.
I've always loved orange hair, and this is my, I want to say 5th time having dreads. I like changing up the way I look all the time. So obviously dreads isn't really ideal because brushing them out takes whatever. But it was on my bucket list last time to shave my head, so I actually had a shaved head.
So good.
It was a look. I'll find a picture and show you. But I don't know. This might sound really silly, but do you ever get like a look or something and you just feel like,
Oh.
yeah, this is what I'm supposed to look like? Is that weird? Whenever I have my dreads, I always feel like this weird comfort and this, I don't know.
It's like you're who you're meant to be rather than...
Yeah, like sitting chatting with you just now, I'm quite bubbly, probably obnoxious, but
No!
I'm like, I'm comfortable and I'm fine. See, like, out in the world, I get really, really anxious and really whatever, and I don't know if it's because it's like they're a big cloak, they're a big like comfort blanket, but with that, it's just, it gives me a little bit more like surety. About myself. I don't know what it is. Hair's a wonderful thing. I've been on a binge of watching Brad Mondo just now.
Yeah.
And watching people do their hair, and I just love seeing people like living their best life and getting confidence, and I'm just like,
I love it.
I've always been up to something. When I was a nurse, I had short, hot pink hair.
Amazing.
Like a pixie cut.
I love a pixie cut.
And then I had lilac hair that was short as well. And I was bald. I say bald. I had a shaved head. So yeah, it was. I'll hold it up to the.
I think
I don't know if you'll be able to see it.
I used to, and I had a few years where I didn't do anything, and that was kind of. I was definitely, I always describe it as, the easiest way to describe it is lost. I was not being me, which is fine, like, and it's good to have those moments, but when it wasn't until I reflected on it a little while back, I realised that when I change my hair, it's not because I need to take control of something, which is what a lot of people like, that's there. For me, it's a chance to almost reset and get to know the person that I am now, because a hair generally has been like a point in time, you know. I can remember when I had orange hair and red hair, and when I changed it to have 2 fringes at one time because I was kooky, like, and all of those things. It's kind of like, oh, this is like, I've got green hair now, and I had to get used to who I was now, and it's kind of a little trigger to reflect and to reconnect with myself. And I think it's quite empowering to do that from time to time and be like, okay, who am I? Who am I? Who am I? I'm the person with green hair for a bit. Or finally, because it just wanted to be blue.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
I am dreaming of orange.
Oh, I love it. I love watching people change it up. But equally, like, when people want to have natural hair and stuff, like, I don't know. I think that for some people it is them to have their own natural hair and to whatever, and I think that that's a beautiful thing, and part of me is a little bit envious of it because I was never comfortable, and it's almost like you're not comfortable in your own natural state, but I think there's something to be said about taking control of that then. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
I think that was part of why I wanted to stop, was very much and I think prior to that, we're getting a bit, but I was very much into vintage and that, like, 1930s, 40s, 50s style, and people looked at me and treated me so different, and I did not like it. So I kind of went the opposite and was like, that's it, I'm not wearing makeup, I'm not doing anything. And now, again, I've like you said, like, I've taken control, and I'm like, no, I can mix it up, I can go out looking, you know, whatever.
Exactly.
And
like, I like to think of it as, how would I have wanted to have looked when I was 14? That's what I'm gonna do. And it's like the little emo kid, like, it's I'm a closet goth, do you know what I mean? Like, it's always gonna be there. Or I'm a woodland goth or whatever. Like, I love all that, and it doesn't, like, we've got a night out coming up, and the girls that I'm going with and the people I'm going with, they all get very dolled up and absolutely stunning, but it's all like Barbie pinks and like neon greens, and I'm going to be there like a dark red dress with a choker in, like black lipstick. I'm like,
but it's good. I think it's
mad.
Good to be able to be confident in being that and allowing yourself to, because it's, I mean, I use a very close to me mum as not my mum. My mum will do whatever she wants. It's fantastic. But I've got a mum close to me that dreams of wearing goth and just won't, and it's that fit. And I'm like, so having the confidence and the comfort in yourself to be able to do it is so good. And I think I wish that I could just splatter everyone with a bit of self-assurance and comfort in their own skin sometimes. So.
Absolutely. There's someone that comes into our shop sometimes, and they wear skirts and things like that when it's not the social norm, but I can't describe it, like, they have the most brightest, like, personality, and whenever I chat to them when they're in buying something, like, they're just so sure of themselves, but it's not in an arrogant way at all. It's just, this is me and I'm comfortable with it. Like, it's not shoving it in your face, it's nothing like that. It's just, it's like a breath of fresh air when you see people just being them. Do you know what I mean?
Well, we are human beings. I think we forget we've rebranded as human doing or human faking or whatever, but we are just human beings, and that's how we should be. And I think I have to shout to my mum, who probably won't be here, but maybe she will. Hi mum, if you are. But seeing her as I was growing up probably really benefited me more than she will probably understand, and more than I could probably comprehend too. Like, I've seen my mum wear from like PVC trousers and a crop top, like, through to now she wears more fancy irregular choice shoes and Bernie Dexter dresses. She's like always just been unashamedly who she is, and I think that allowed me to also be like, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm gonna save this ugly piece of knitwear from the charity shop and I'm gonna wear it every day.
I love an ugly knitwear moment.
I show you the this is just because it's funny, the jacket that my mum got me a couple of Christmases ago. This is an example of the things I used to wear when I was younger, and I still insist on wearing them. It's the most fabulous thing.
That is exquisite.
Isn't it brilliant? Like, it's so autumnal, yet.
I'm gonna send you, next time I go to my mum and dad, see if you turn it around, see on the back, see the dark one that's like furthest from you, that looks like we had a boy called Buster, and I'll send you some pictures. It looks like Buster, and that's what I've had at the moment there, like, he's on a ticket.
Oh, I have to put a little name tag on him.
Oh, please do. I'll send you pictures. It's quite cute.
Yeah. Wow.
The incarnation in a coat.
That was a big whoop, but I like it. This is why I try not to do notes.
Structured type.
I'm a bit crap at sticking on subject.
We're just, like you said, we're human beings. We're being.
Yeah. This company was lovely. That I would really one day up here like to try their yarn, Annfield Farm, and I think they're just above Edinburgh, but they have their own herd of mohair goats, and they were like, if you ever want to come see some. I was like, if only you knew how much I do.
I wonder if we could incorporate that into our wee thing next year.
Wouldn't that be wonderful? Maybe
we did a couple nights. We could go and visit a farm.
That would be lovely, especially goats. And if it's kidding season. Oh, they're so cute. I'm like, you don't even know how cute you are.
What's silly?
And I don't know. I know that they recently had some. It was quite sweet. They had some yarn hand spun from a local spinner, and they were auctioning it off for charity, which is lovely. But I think their normal, like, in-house yarn is a blend of mohair and Shetland, which I did not expect to turn out as it did. It was so soft, and those mittens.
Beautiful.
Right.
They were the 50-50 blend, weren't they? I think I ended up getting the 70-30, but the same colour.
Even more something.
And I think it's going to be... Well, it's still quite scratchy. Oh, it is. It's nice. Like, it's a nice prickle, do you know what I mean? But I think they're going to be mittens. Because after seeing that sitting on the table, it was just perfect colour and stuff.
Yeah, I think I have a very short list of things that I would like to purchase and try. And I think this is quite high up on it. And I think you're right, mittens is where I would go, and maybe even just mitten liners. I feel like Shetland being what it is and mohair what it is, they would be nice enough and warm enough on their own, but then being able to put on a colourwork pair of mitts over the top and being like, ha, try and get my frosty fingers now. Like,
yeah.
Have you decided on a pattern for that, or are you just eagerly waiting?
I seen one. It was the Fibre Tales one. What's the one that's like the plants
Oh,
Is
yeah.
it the grow mittens? Oh,
There's-
my battery's
and
just died. Is it the grow mittens?
I think the same as the shawl. Is there a
Yes.
shawl? I think so.
No. Yeah,
No?
maybe. I'll look it up. Right, where is it? But yeah, I'm thinking them because I like that you can fold the cuff down over your hands, or you can pull it up so that it keeps you nice and toasty.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. Kind of a bit more practical than normal mittens for actually doing things.
Yeah, because I need my fingies. I'm like, it stresses me out if I don't.
I think
What is it?
I secretly really like it, and I don't tell anyone. It's because I don't have to use my phone if I've got mittens on. It's okay. There was this company as well, who again is someone that I would like to try. Flora Fibres, and they had. It's an entirely vegan company, which didn't show, but the fibre itself was wild, and I knew that there was a big difference between how some things are processed and how that is going to impart itself on the environment, so to speak. Like bamboo can be processed in a way that is going to biodegrade and be quite caring, and it can also be pretty traumatizing to the planet. And I think she did reiterate that they only use the nice process, which is, she said, which is why it's so expensive, but I actually thought it was really reasonably priced, and if I had more of a budget I would have bought a skein, and I think I would like to knit a shawl in it. But it was £18 for like 800 metres or 1,000 metres or something of this lace weight yarn. And in the skein it almost felt crunchy, like almost like hemp twine or something. But as soon as it was washed, it just was like
softened right out.
Like silk, just like really drapey and like ugh.
Like spaghetti.
Yeah, it was lovely. And the colours were really nice. Like there was a couple of really good greens, which at the moment green.
Yep.
But I think I might get some with the intention of knitting it for my mum, because again, my mum's would wear wool if I made her, but I think she would really appreciate that next to her skin and it being a little bit more cooling. But that was an interesting company, I thought. Like she said it wasn't banana, but it was easier to call it banana because the plant that it's from, actually no one has a clue what it is.
Plantain?
No, I don't think it was. It was something even more like Alex and I both were like, huh. And she was like, I have to call it this because it's more accessible.
Banana.
Yeah. And the pineapple, there's a pineapple fibre. It was just...
That's really cool though.
Yeah, I'll do a bit more research in the future, but I thought it was a nice option because...
I thought there was a really good variety of different fibres there, did you not? And like, the same as yourself, I really liked the whole, like, picking up business cards and stuff
as a
as you're
reminder.
going round, because it's like, you don't need to buy everything today, like, do you know what I mean? They're going to be there. There's a couple that are going to be at Glasgow Festival, Glasgow School of Yarn, the end of October.
I'd quite like to get there.
You should go there.
I mean, I have actively said I'm hibernating for October, but already Alex has got a gig coming up this month, and there's slowly more and more things trying to creep in, and I'm really, really doing my best to be like, no, maybe I'll just watch some Instagram lives of other people shopping for yarn and embrace
and
it
just
that
have
way.
a wee cosy month.
Yeah.
Just to recuperate from all the stress and stuff like that as well. So
And like, I had a really nice time dusting yesterday.
excellent. I'm off work this week, and my first day off on Monday. I hoovered out the car, I cleaned the oven, I done the wash, and I'm like, who am I? I don't do these things. But it was like getting a clear slate so that for the rest of the week I can just knit and not feel guilty about it.
Well, I don't know what day, but maybe Friday we can have a little, not camera-y, no offence, friends, chat and sit and knit. Maybe help pick a shawl.
Yes, please.
Yeah, please. And the only other two, I say only, that I thought that I should mention was how weird it was seeing Susan, but seeing my pattern hung up on a thing and other people touching it. I was like, Alex! It was like,
There was two of it.
yeah, there was. There's both
It was
samples.
pretty. The way it was hanging as well was beautiful.
So that was very special to see. And this, I'm still not even halfway through reading about it, but it is beautiful, and I had to mention it because it was really nice to see it in Scotland with Susan next to it, and her sister, who is also amazing, a geologist. They're just a really cool family.
I love it.
And then I have this one, because Alex happened to be wearing the jumper that I'd knitted using this book as an inspiration, and I think it was the writer that was just like,
Sure it was, because she was so excited.
I was like,
You made that woman's day.
I was like, Alex, look, and then she started talking, and I was like, but he's wearing one inspired by it. But her yarn was beautiful. I don't even know what the company, it was D. Gilpin? I don't know how you would say it, but there is an example. What does it call for? Yes, D. Gilpin, so that it's their own yarn. And it was beautiful. I was really impressed with the stitch definition on it. And the softness.
I remember they had all their swatches pinned up as well, and it was one of the lighter coloured ones. I remember feeling it in the balls and thinking, like, yeah, it's nice, it's whatever, but not, this sounds terrible, but not really thinking it's anything special, and then felt it once it had been washed, and it was like, I'm obsessed with this fabric.
Such
it was just so
different fibre.
like supple. Like, does that make sense?
It washed beautifully, and the colours again were nothing out there, but because of that, I think it spoke to me. They were just really, really good reds. You'd imagine that to be a lot fluffier and just like there's a bit of silk or cotton in there.
You knitted that in the traditional fibre. Wow, it's so dense. This is the 5-ply. It's gorgeous. Yes.
What is it?
I can see why it's a 5-ply gansey yarn. So
Wow.
but this was really designed for modern take on a gansey. So it's not like sleeve. So there's more movement. You know.
I did hear about this recently.
In cycling.
Tone red.
Cool, like
I don't like a
hint of blue to it.
yes. Like the Winterberry from Charlotte is the perfect red, and I don't know how many times I'll say it, and I'm not going to stop saying it. It is the perfect red. I don't know how she's got it, but she is one talented wee pickle, because it's perfect. It really is.
That was also amazing to see Charlotte's stall. So I had to.
She's so busy.
I had to wait until 4:30, I think, to be able to go and say hello, which is wild. We kept waving at each other from across the balcony, and I was like, I could see she's just like keeping up and doing it. But I was like, wow, it's really nice to see you thrive. Like from the outset, seeing the colour palette and the way Charlotte wants to, go into non-superwash, which makes my heart sing, and there's no judgment on superwash, but it was just kind of like seeing go from like, oh, I've just opened a cute little Etsy store to, hey, I've got my own little studio that I work in, I've got my own website, I think I'm doing all right, and then seeing the reaction in real life, like, bless her, I saw she was having to stand like outside of her stall most of the time, just like, I was like, I really want to go in and squish, and also eventually buy some creep because it is the perfect slimy green. But future me. But it was really cool to see, and also we got to wear matching jumpers for like 5 minutes. No, I like to like.
It's funny that I changed to video when you were still flapping around. Yeah.
And poor Alex was in charge of taking a couple of pictures, and as is on brand for both of us, we're both there like dancing and just being awkward, like, yeah, we'll just hold our hair, shall we? And Alex is like, I think all but 3 pictures are blurry. I was like, it's about right.
That works. That works.
Yeah, well,
on brand.
Yeah. and I think they're both like us, like this, like, are you really going to take our picture? And you're like, we did ask you to do that, but still we're going to be like,
yeah.
I think that's. Is there anyone else though? Oh, the only other person when we're talking ganseys, I have to mention the amazing Katniss. And it was the Katniss Yarns, not the other one, I think. And he had the gansey. And I won't do the story justice, but it just that like my vintage loving, history loving heart like burst when I saw he had his family, or he found some pictures of his great granddad or great. Either way, it was 2 family members from quite far down the line really, wearing the same style of jumper almost exactly, and he had a pattern designer, pattern writer go in and retrofit, wrong phrase, but make a pattern from it, so it's his like family's pattern essentially turned into a gansey that we can all knit. And it's got the little gusset at the underarm, so it looks like it fits beautifully.
Were you lifting the sleeve and going, it's got a gusset?
And it was interesting because it's slightly different construction, because he was saying that most of the family were broad and they needed to be able to like construct it, so it was a different construction. It was just a really fascinating little story, and I'll put some footage in of it.
Wow, that's so cool.
The end, but it definitely has inspired me more to get looking at this book and plan Alex's gansey, which I think I just mentioned yesterday when I recorded, that I do really think it might be my January, February dark months, not doing anything project, just really dense knitting, intricate.
Whittling away on that.
Like, I love the idea of knitting such a dense item. I haven't had the opportunity to do that in a while.
There's something, I think, other than socks, like the tightest gauge, something that I've worked on is just 3mm needles, which isn't even that small, really. Sorry, I'm loaded with a couple.
It's like, yeah.
But this is like the tightest thing I'm working on just now, and I feel like
it's so lovely.
for me, but it's taken so long. I'm so used to like the smallest I normally go is like 4mm, and even then I'm like I like when I do like I feel like sort of ranunculus or something, when it's the chunky needles, and I like all that. This is to test my patience, I think.
I'm
really liking it. It might convert me.
I think
it might teach me to have more patience.
Convert. I think I love big loose mohair knits, and that will never change. I don't think it will, but I do really love a project that takes a little bit more time, and I want more of those. I think warms my heart and keeps me going. I think my output has been quite high for so long that I'm dreaming of projects that are with me for months rather than weeks.
Yeah.
And I'm not a fast knitter. This is a commonly misconstrued thing. I knit very slowly. If you see me knit in real life, it's like...
Really?
Yeah. I'm not... I just don't
I
like...
always thought you would be like the whiz kid, like...
No, I think I've actively... I think I was very relaxed when I started, and I've got tighter but no faster. It's just... I don't know, I just enjoy the process.
Daddy says I'm a very aggressive looking knitter. He's like... I'm not going to say it because it's bad one. But you can imagine, like, the whole Scottish, I'm saying Scottish, probably isn't, but it's knitting like effort. And that's what he says that I do. He's like, you're knitting like, and I'm like, no, I'm not. And he was like, I think you're very aggressive. I'm like, I'm thinking that I'm sitting here quite chill with my coffee and like my wee channel and my inner grand vibes, and he says I look violent. I'm like, just so you don't interrupt my stitch count.
Yeah. I do have to actively, I did yesterday, I was counting, and Alex was talking to me, and I was like, counting in my head, and I actively had to go 93, 94, 95, and he was like, I'll ask you in a second. I was like, 95, 96, thank you.
Did that yesterday.
always feel bad, but...
Like when they start talking and you just count out loud so they know, like, I'm not listening to you right now, I'm focused.
I often try and get to, like, say 100 and be like, I am listening, honey, I just 50 stitches. And he's like, don't worry. I'm like, I'm really sorry, but otherwise I'm going to ask you to count it for me.
Yeah,
you know.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking. I'm like, you know what? If you make me lose count again, you're going to have to sit and count it, but then I'm going to have to count it again because I don't trust you. Oh,
it is
that
fun.
was me with that pattern that I'm working on. The one that I showed you, the chart that I've made. See, working out, like, so I showed you I've got like the main motif and then the stitches that I've got left. I'm like, right, what stitch count can I use to have as a repeat for going round, but so that they won't be like, so that it'll work, them not touching and all that kind of stuff. And Gary's mum visited last night and I was doing it while chatting away to her, like just scribbling away, and at one point she went, did you get it? And I went, I found another problem. And she went, oh, I could do that. And I was like, I don't think I can. It's so frustrating.
I love the problem solving aspect of making and designing, and I know that recently my brain has not been in the right space to try, but it's fun trying to break those boundaries almost and being like, huh.
I get that with everything except the colour work. I don't know what it is. It really annoys me when I can't get it to work. So see the other shawl design that I'm making, I'm doing it now. Like I probably had half of it complete. It was nearly done, but I didn't like it, so I tore it all out. And I started it again. But this time, like every time I finish a section, it's like, yeah, this is so much better than the first time. And I get what you mean. Like it's that I solved it, I fixed it, and it's like it's good.
It's just, I don't know, I love problem solving, and I didn't realise it's something that knitting's been able to gift me more of.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't think when I started knitting that I'd be like, oh, it's kind of nice to be solving problems with maths or colour or whatever, but it's funny, isn't it?
I was talking to Gary when I was trying to figure out for one of the shawls, and I was like, I can't get this bit, and he was like, well, why are you doing anything that involves maths? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm not good at this.
I love it.
I figured it out though. You know, breaking stereotypes. Broken can't do maths. Yes, you can.
Yeah, you can. I love the universalness of maths. that makes
like
it's
like a language, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. It is what it is, and you can say pie, and it is limited. But if you say pie as in pie, in food terms or word terms, it's like, wow, it could mean it.
Yeah, that's
Pie. Does it have a lid?
seriously.
Yes, it always has a lid. Otherwise, it's not a pie. But you know, like, I love that there's that different. Yeah.
High sounds.
Yeah. I've been dreaming of pumpkin pasties and pumpkin pies and basically everything. And we got a food box and there was a squash in it, and I think I'm gonna have to go in to make some pumpkin pasties today. Having mentioned the word
I've
pie.
never tried anything like any baked goods with pumpkin in it. I know.
It's so good. Also, like, for example, Alex and I will often use butternut squash or sweet potato in place of the pumpkin because we prefer the texture. So you can do everything, but the evaporated milk or whatever you use within it usually completely... Once pumpkin's cooked anyway, that flavour, that scent that you're getting disappears. But adding sweetness... Yeah, it's good.
My mum makes pumpkin soup every year, and it, like, I can't bring myself to eat it.
Oh, give it.
I can't. I don't know why.
Get her to tell you it's carrot soup, and then try it, and then you might go, oh, okay.
No, because then I'll just develop trust issues.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I'll be scared. No, I will. I promise I'll give it a try this year.
I mean, definitely not on my tub, but I'm like, pumpkin, you may be missing out. You might not be, you might hate it, but I'm like...
You'll get a message from me at like 11 o'clock at night. Why did you make it?
Yeah. I hope you enjoyed.
I'm allergic or something.
Please don't be. So I think that conversation ended quite abruptly. We ended up talking for about 45 minutes longer than what was recorded. Not only did Brogan's camera battery just stop work, like just ran out, I think my laptop was having a little bit of a time recording more than an hour directly, and then we just got chatting and ended up on a completely different tangent, and it was really nice to sit and chat with Brogan. I hope you enjoyed it. We had a really lovely time at the festival when Brogan was in the queue in front of me, and I sent her a message saying, I can see you, I'll see you in a bit. Brogan actually came to the back of the queue and we sat down, and Alex and Brogan had a cup of coffee, I think, and I had an iron brew, which I'm sorry about my pronunciation. I had an iron brew, and then we went and saw everything, and it really was special. Not only meeting other familiar faces that have just, you know, maybe like yourself that podcasts or shares your knitting on Instagram, meeting quite a few people that I'd had quite a long-term interaction with, from Jack to Susie. Like, it was really quite special to get those, to make those connections more than just online. And I think that whilst an online conversation and then connection is really valid, as someone that has had friends online from my adolescent years all the way through, I find them very powerful. But when they turn from just an online friendship to a real life one, it adds such a different dimension. And it's nice to think that when you are talking online, as we are now, or sending an Instagram message, there is always that chance that it could become an in real life friendship. And I think that for me it adds a little bit more value to the tool and the thing that of social media. I'm feeling quite thoughtful right now, I guess is the right word. And yeah, so that was a bit of a tangent, I guess, but I really hope that you enjoy having a little look at some of the yarns. Whilst I didn't go into everything quite as much detail as I may have wanted to, I still hope that there's a few little new to you companies and small businesses to support, or a little food for thought on different fibres. And yeah, there definitely has been for me, and it was actually nice to reflect on them And whilst I don't often take the business cards, I think it was quite good because not only has it reminded me that of who people were, but actually remembering what yarn I would like to use and what the future might look like in trying different yarns. And whilst I really, you know, I'm quite content to keep using things like woolly knit because it's affordable, it definitely made me, like, just this conversation has made me think a little bit about different fibres and actively looking at trying different fibres again. I've got a couple of books on fleece and fibre, and it's kind of inspired me. Wow, Brogan, you inspired me, and I maybe inspired myself a little bit to pull it out and have a little look about what a Suffolk breed might look like and what it might be good for, and have a little bit of time with that. Anyway, I truly hope that you have enjoyed this. I hope that you enjoy a little bit of footage from the festival itself, and I also hope you enjoy some of Windy Hollow. And I've said this before, but Windy Hollow is one of my favourite places outside of the rainforest in Daintree, which is still one of the most special places I've ever been to. It might be the second. It just has this feel to it. It's natural, it's wild, it's filled with knowledge, and the fact that it's a farm in Perthshire, if you're new here, that it's run by a lovely lady called Monica. She grows tea and chamomile as the sort of main thing, but she was also planted a natural woodland, so sort of native woodland, and the fact that it's been planted with the intention of being there for future generations, just, you know, it's super special. And seeing how that's changed so much over the years that we've been visiting, yeah, so I hope you get to enjoy that too. Maybe it's my eyesight, I'm a bit tired, but with that, I really hope to see you again soon. I hope that you got to enjoy being taken along to this little festival. I know sometimes it can feel like fear of missing out, or the joy of missing out, as I was just talking to you on the last call I had. I think there's much to be said for either attending, not attending. It doesn't really matter. I'm just quite grateful that I got to have the experience to meet more makers in real life, and hopefully meet some more other faces in the future. It is 1:30 my lunchtime. I'm ready for some food. I'm ready to go and put this video together, hopefully, and relive the experience once more. I hope that you enjoy it. I hope to see you again very soon. Don't forget to love each other. It's very important, and whatever you're making, I hope it brings you some joy. And if you're not making, I hope you maybe try something in the future, maybe with one of these interesting yarns from amazing makers. Anyway. Intro? Perth Yarn Festival, an exploration. Is that it? Okay.
And what are we doing here?
Squishing yarn, learning stories, meeting people, excellent people. We met a Gansey man who had a really good story about Gansey. We met the writer of, I believe, of the Gansey book that Alex's jumper that he bought with him was knitted from, and I think that's it. It's not it, but lots of the shot happening.
Do we mooch?
Then we mooch.
Tonight we mooch.
I don't know what I'm saying, but it's been a really lovely day. Is that enough? I've been trying to see Nervous Fibre all day and we haven't been able to yet. And I've got a surprise for her in here somewhere. I'm tired now, but I had a lovely time. I met some lovely people. Anything else? And that's all, folks. Boop. Oh, there you go.
I like your thermometer, guys.
Actually, Andy gave it to me for Christmas. Andy for Christmas, I think.
Have you seen cooks?
Check you out for your work, dude. If you look at the, I think it's been here for a while. It's seen a few seasons. The younger ones compared to Elizabeth. 6 years maybe?
Are you making your own Nutella?
Yeah, actually, it's really good. They are maybe now, they've been planted about 9 years ago.